We are live, everybody. A minute early, but I guess we'll get started now. Um, yeah, I was taking time to read. I did a lot of reading. I read this indictment, read the statement of facts. I tried to listen to Bragg's press conference, and we're going to go through some things. I know I didn't get to it as fast as other people, but hey, you know, better late than never. Um, who's first? Alpha. Hey, you're first. Congratulations. Jennifer saying no spicy, no yelling or screaming. Maybe. I'm really gonna. Oh God, there's a lot of crap I want to say, and I really am. I really need to make sure I don't get an indictment out of, because unlike Trump, the indictment I might get will probably be valid. I'm sure the DA's office there will put out a valid indictment against me. So I need to be careful, but we can do it. We can do it. Uh let's go. Yes. Whew. It's been a hell of a day. It's been a hell of a day. It's been a big day. Um, I know nothing's happened yet, ultimately, but this is huge. It is huge to quote the Emperor of Mankind. I don't like where this is going. I don't like where this is going at all. And I know some people. I was on Mighty Meat a little bit earlier, just real quick, and he had some questions. And am I scared? Ultimately, the answer is yes, just a little bit. And why? That's because these are criminal charges. And as much as I want to tell you, oh, it's all in the bag, it's not. It's not. It's not in the bag till it's done. And anybody's going to tell you otherwise, be careful about listening to them because they're promising you things that might not necessarily be able to deliver. And I think that's something to be careful about. Mike L saying move the locals for a rant. I would, but here's the thing: I can't show you guys what I'm looking at on locals. If I could StreamYard on the locals, I would do it. But locals doesn't have the RTMP setups going, so I can't. But we're gonna talk. James Deanan says, "What more can we do?" Well, there's more we can do, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to show. This is where knowledge is power, and you show people especially what Alvin Bragg said at his press conference. What do you do with that? You show that to people, because some of you probably know what I'm talking about. He says something where, for me, it pisses me off to my core, but for the average person to hear that, they're going to say, "What? That makes no sense." Yes, locals gave us stream sharing. Yes. Um. Yes, Jim. We're going to be getting to all this. So I'm going to give it another minute or two because I'm trying to fix up some of this fix things up that were trying to clear up a thing or two here when I set this video up. Because if you don't set it up right, it looks like garbage. All right. So you know what? We're going to get started. And I'll show you guys what a good indictment looks like. I'll show you guys a bad indictment. Looks like garbage. Stop talking about good logic. um, So here we go. Don't say that about Joe. Joe's a good man. All right. I guess we'll start at the beginning. Why is this not working? All right. So we've got two things to look at. We've got the Trump indictment and the statement of facts. Statement of facts isn't as big a deal. We'll talk about that in a second. But the bigger thing is starting with the indictment. Why? Because that's the charging document. The indictment is what is used to convict you because it says you broke this law. Because you broke this law, you're in trouble. Those are going to be the 34 counts. If he goes to trial and goes in front of a jury, they're going to have 34 counts to decide, and they're from this indictment. So let's start with that indictment itself. I like the bread ears. Oh. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, I'm glad everybody's here. Thanks. Amanda says, like my shirt. Good color me. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Here we go. This is the indictment. Well, actually, hold on here. Yep, share. The indictment. People of the state of New York. And now in this case, it's the people versus Donald Trump. In other places, the state v. Trump. Other places be the Commonwealth v. Trump. Whatever. Same difference. The grand jury accuses him of the crime of falsifying business records. Ooh. Okay, so this is count one. The defendant in the county of New York and elsewhere. Now, this is where I'd love to get a chance to talk to Nate the lawyer, but this right here, elsewhere. Where else? Where else did he commit it? Where's the... I mean, it's in the county of New York, which is Manhattan County. Okay, or Manhattan Island. But elsewhere, where else did he do it? I mean, part of an indictment is you need to know by looking at it what you've done. When, where, and what. And actually, we're gonna bring up an example of an indictment. And this is an indictment from an old case I have. And actually, we're gonna start with that first. Because here's what an indictment looks like. Okay. Here's an indictment. Now, what does this indictment say? Well, it alleges that a crime was committed. All right. First of all, you know what the top crime is? Count one is felonious assault. And you hear that in the grand jury of the state of Ohio for the county aforesaid. And this is in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, and that part's cut off. This is in Cleveland. That on or about the date of the offense set forth, which is up here, on or about whatever 2022 in the county of Cuyahoga, this person unlawfully, the defendant unlawfully did only cause serious physical harm to a person. Okay, so person A committed serious physical harm against person B in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, on or about a certain date in 2022. You understand that. You have notice of what you've done. And Jim, you're pointing out, he said elsewhere, but elsewhere is not inside of New York. If he was in the Oval Office, that's outside the jurisdiction. So did he do it in New York? If he didn't do it in New York and he signed those records and he falsified them somewhere else outside the state, that's a problem. They can't get around that. They only have jurisdiction for crimes committed in New York County. So that's why, where's elsewhere? Because you see this guy, he's not charged with, in the one county in Ohio and other places possibly. No. It's got to be in your county, inside your jurisdiction. So if he did somewhere else, they're shit out of luck. And then you see the second one, domestic violence. Person A, on or about a certain date, committed serious physical harm to a person, and that they did this, they had a previous conviction for it on a previous date in a municipal court in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. So now you know what you've been charged with and how you're being charged, and that there's an enhancement and what your previous convictions are. This is what it should look like. You should be able to look at it and understand it. But we don't have that here. We have elsewhere, okay. And then from on or about February 14th, okay, that's fair. That it's a date. We need to know the date, okay. With the intent to defraud, intent to commit another crime, intent to commit another crime. What crime? What crime? And aiding, concealing the commission thereof. Once again, what crime am I aiding and concealing the commission of? You know, I made and caused a false business entry in the records. Okay, that part's fine. To wit, an invoice from Michael Cohen. Now, it's an invoice from Michael Cohen to Trump. How did Trump falsify one of Cohen's things? Unless they're going to claim conspiracy. But notice there's no conspiracy to commit falsifying business records. Because that's what the argument would have to be if they're claiming, oh, Trump told Cohen to do it. Well, that's conspiracy. And conspiracy is not being alleged here. There's a lot of stuff here that doesn't make sense. But the big thing here is, what crime did he commit? You're told, oh, you committed another crime. Well, what crime did I commit? If I don't know if you're not going to tell me what crime I've committed, how do I defend against that? How would I find witnesses? How would I find evidence? Once again, we don't know for sure. And we'll get to Alvin Bragg's press conference because it's not clear. And some of the things he tries to allege are crimes aren't crimes themselves. So, Jim is saying it doesn't matter where he was. He had to surrender control of his business prior to being sworn in and wasn't allowed to make any business decisions. So how is he responsible? That's another issue. That is another issue. That's a secondary thing. Although if he's signing things, it sounds like he's still signing stuff. I don't know. It's crying shame. Hello. We have jumbled turds. Ooh, that doesn't sound like fun. Just got off Barnes' stream. Ready to read the same thing 34 times? No, we're not. Because it's the same thing 34 times over. We're not going to do that. But what are these? What are these? You don't know. You have to have notice that you've committed a crime. Right now, the intent to commit another crime. What crime? How do you defend yourself right now? By looking at this. How can anybody defend themselves against this? This is the charging document. It should tell you what's wrong. Okay, and then the second count, once again, falsifying business records. On or about the same dates and times that we're looking at here, with the intent to commit another crime. Once again, we see this 34 times, the intent to commit another crime. Intent to commit another crime. Intent to commit another crime. And now, yes, there's on a bunch of different documents. Fine. And that's how we get around this issue of how are there 34 counts and they have similar dates? Because they're claiming multiple documents. So each document can be considered a separate record, depending on how records are broken down under New York law. That's not an issue. Not a problem at all. That I don't have an issue with until I see how these records are created. Now, if they're treating each page of a document, even if it's one whole document as a record, maybe there's a problem there, but we won't know for sure yet. Like these vouchers, I don't know how the vouchers are organized, but yes, a bearing voucher, bearing voucher number and kept and maintained by the organization. But yes, once again, intent to commit another crime. We see this over and 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 over again. What crime? And we get all the way down. We're down to count 33. Once again, the intent to commit another crime. What is the crime? There's no other crime. If you came into my office with this, I don't know what you did. What's the other crime? I can't figure it out. Ag Biochemist saying, is this indictment that'll make you pull your hair out? Well, more importantly, like I said, the one I showed you at the beginning, the indictment of that guy for felonious assault and domestic violence, you can understand it. You can defend it. You are given notice of what's going on. This one's just like, hey, you did something wrong. What? Something. We're going to get to that, Peter. So that's the issue. What? Okay. Then we get to the last page, and the last page says, and this is pretty normal for an indictment. Okay. By Alvin Bragg. And then we get to the people of the state of New York, the indictment, and this is signed by, and then a true bill, 4-person. This part's normal. Don't worry about that. That's all just the gobbledygook at the back end. So here's the statement of facts. Okay, well, we're going to kind of breeze through this. The participants violated election laws and violate election laws. Which ones? I mean, if he violated election laws, why aren't you charging him with those? Well, it's because they're federal election laws. Well, are they actually crimes? Can you prove they're crimes? Do you have the purview under state law to charge someone with an enhanceable case if they weren't actually convicted of a crime? Normally, you can't. I mean, typically, this idea you're going to try to enhance a crime with other conduct, you generally need that conviction. Saying, "Oh, they committed the conduct," well, no, that's not enough because you're that you are then introducing evidence of a case outside your jurisdiction, and you're trying a case you don't have any jurisdiction to try. So for him to come in and say they broke campaign finance laws, that's not the purview of a court in the state. Now, maybe there's state laws, fine, but then where are your state laws? And you'll see Bragg, duck and dodge that question. The participants also took steps that mischaracterized for tax purposes. Oh, so they broke tax law. Where? You didn't seem to charge them with that. So did they really do it? I mean, come on. You're a prosecutor and you're claiming these guys broke the law, but you're not charging them with that law? Come on now, bro. Come on, man. I worked as a prosecutor for a bit, dude. If you got charges you could slap on somebody, you put them on them. If they really did it, then charge them. But this, come on now. Well, he did some illegal stuff, but I'm not charging him for it. Bro, ain't nobody buying that. So they talk about here, one component of this is Lawyer A, who's Michael Cohen, covertly paid $130,000 to a porn star shortly before election and shut her up. Lawyer A made the payment through a shell corporation he set up and funded at a bank. Okay. Sounds like Lawyer A broke the law. And guess what? Michael Cohen broke the law and went to prison for it. A has since pled guilty to making a campaign contribution. Okay. So, guy broke law, went to prison. Notice there's no conspiracy here. And there's no conspiracy to commit or falsify bank records. There's an entire thing they have not brought up. Where are the charges? Come on now. I need the charges. After the election, the defendant reimbursed Lawyer A for the illegal payment through a series of monthly checks. First from the Trump Revocable Trust. Okay. And then, a trust created which held the Trump's assets after the defendant was elected president. And then from the defendant's bank account. Okay. So he paid him from his own bank account? Kind of supposed to pay your attorney. Each check was processed by the Trump organization, and each check was disguised as a payment for legal services pursuant to a retainer agreement. I mean, you're going to have to rely on Michael Cohen to say, no, there was no legal services rendered, even though I was his attorney and I had a retainer agreement. No, this is all dirty money. Michael Cohen, the guy who lied, the guy who snitched out his own client and broke attorney-client privilege, snitched, lied to Congress. Yeah, that's your star witness. Okay. In truth, there was no retainer agreement, and I mean, are you sure? Are you sure about that? I don't know. Oh, the Trump organization is about 500 different entities. Yeah, they manage golf hotels. Yep, yada 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 yada. From 2015 to 16, he was a candidate. On 2017, he became president. Okay, cool. Um, the catch and kill scheme to suppress negative information. All right. Um, the defendant and others agreed to identify and suppress negative stories about him. That's what you do in a political campaign. You identify and suppress negative stories. For example, Bill Clinton, because he was such a philanderer and a sexual harassment, proclivity person, Hillary headed up what was called the Bimbo Eruption Unit. Because during the 1992 campaign, you had like Jennifer Flowers, Paula Jones, James Carville called them bimbos. And it was just an eruption of bimbos. All the women that he harassed and assaulted came out of the woodwork. So Hillary's job was to suppress the negative stories. That's not illegal. You're allowed to do that. Oh, well, thank you, John, for bringing that up. Allegan News, do retainer agreements in New York need to be in writing? I mean, probably technically to be on the up and up, but you could probably get away with one unwritten one. Can a judge throw this out for being improperly written? Yeah, but the judge in this case is not going to do that, as much as we'd like to think. Just, I mean, I hate to break it to you. That's where we are. That's where we are. So let's get back to where we were there. Lawyering pleaded guilty to 2 federal crimes involving illegal campaign contributions. Okay, well, sounds like somebody did do some illegal campaign contributions. Okay. 2 parties in this agreement had admitted to committing illegal conduct. Okay. 2 people said they did something illegal and they're not. I mean, we're not, once again, are we talking about a conspiracy? Because there's no allegation of a conspiracy. We just have some people saying, oh, I did something. Okay. Did Trump tell you to do that? Did you guys agree to do it? Notice, once again, there is no charge of conspiracy. These people are acting. Okay, well, they acted on their own. Notice, Cohen at the time didn't take Trump down with him. Now he wants to? Well, that's a little sus. Getting back at your boss because you screwed up? I mean, now you're telling the truth, Michael Cohen? Okay. In addition, in American Media Incorporated, AMI, a media company that operated the National Enquirer, admitted in a non-prosecution agreement, it made a payment to a source to ensure the source did not publicize damaging allegations about the defendant. Okay. So in a non-prosecution agreement, they admitted they made payments to somebody. What's that got to do with Trump? Did Trump order that payment? Is that a business record here? No, the National Enquirer did their own thing. Okay. Let's just see how they're trying to put this all together. So at some point, Cohen and AMI's chairman and CEO met at the Trump Tower in New York County in Manhattan, on Manhattan Island. At the meeting, he agreed to help with Trump's campaign, saying he would act as the eyes and ears for the campaign, looking out for negative stories and alerting Cohen before they were published. Okay, it's a lot to do that. And the CEO agreed to publish negative stories about the defendant's competitors for the election. That's not illegal. None of this here is illegal. None of that here is illegal. A few months later, in 2015, they learned a former Trump Tower doorman was trying to sell information regarding a child the defendant allegedly had in a wedlock. At the AMI CEO's direction. So once again, there's no, there's nothing here that, at AMI's discretion, they negotiate and sign an agreement to pay $30,000 to get the rights to the story, meaning they bought it so he shut up. AMI falsely characterizes payment in its books and records, including its general ledger. Okay, well, does Trump own AMI? Does Trump owned AMI. AMI purchased the information from the doorman without fully investigating his claims. All right. Well, that's not, they don't have to. When AMI concluded the story wasn't true, they wanted to release it from the agreement. However, Michael Cohen told them not to release them until after the election. And the CEO complied with that because of his agreement with Trump and Cohen. All right. The suppressed. Yeah. Hey, buddy, can you help us? Okay, sure. They suppressed Woman One. Woman One, I forget if Woman One Stormy Daniels or Karen McDougal. I'm not sure which one, but they claim they had a relationship while he was married. Trump didn't want that to come out because it could have an effect on his candidacy. Therefore, AMI, the Inquirer, and Cohen had a series of discussions about who should pay off Woman One to secure his silence. Okay, that's not illegal. You're allowed to pay people to shut them up. Despite what Alvin Bragg tells you, you can pay people to shut them up. Sullivan says, for each one of those felony counts, Trump broke a rule, resulting in 34 rules being broken. For more information, look up Donald Trump Rule 34. Yes, Google that. Don't Google it on your work computer, though. Really, don't. When's Stormy getting charged for blackmail? She's a whore, so nobody cares about whores. I mean, unless they end up in a truck stop dumpster. So, this is interesting. They're highlighting their theory of the case, or trying to, but this isn't the indictment, so this isn't the charging document. They could have put some of this information in their indictment, but they didn't. So the indictment's what stands right now. AMI ultimately paid $150 or 150 G's to Woman One to shut up, as well as for 2 magazine cover features of her and a series of articles published under byline. So AMI falsely did this under their own ledger. Okay. They agreed to do this after talking with both Trump and Cohen, and on the understanding from Cohen that the defendant or the Trump organization would reimburse AMI. Okay, so we have here, they discussed it with Trump and Cohen, but Cohen made a representation that Trump would do something. Well, so did Cohen make a statement? Did Cohen co-sign something for Trump and say, oh yeah, he'll pay you back? Well, is there any proof that Trump was aware of that statement? I mean, you guys said there was no retainer agreement. There's no retainer agreement. Is he really acting as his attorney? Because you can't have it both ways. If there is no retainer agreement, then he can't represent him technically. I think you're going to run into some issues here about some of your, the finesse of this. And certainly, if you guys are listening to this and you're saying, oh, well, Robert Bard's on something else and you're just a fucking idiot. I might be. I'm just reading this and giving you my reaction. This is just, it doesn't sit right with me. In a conversation captured in an auto recording approximately in September 2016, the defendant and lawyer A discussed how to obtain the rights to woman's account from AMI and reimburse it. Where the fuck did this conversation come from? But interesting. Cohen told Trump he would open up a company for the transfer of McDougal's account and other information. He's spoken to the chief financial officer for the Trump organization about how to set the whole thing up. Trump asked, so what do we got to pay for this? $150. I suggested paying by cash. When Cohen disagreed, Trump mentioned paying by check. Why would you pay by check? Jesus. Jerry Springer, the talk show host. He was the mayor of Cincinnati. He got in trouble because he wrote a hooker a check. And there's a paper trail. Remember, always in cash, never in writing. To quote the great Robert Barnes, After the conversation, Cohen created a shell company called Resolution Consultants LLC in 2016. Less than 2 months before the election, in September, AMI signed the agreement and transferred the rights to 1-1's account to Resolutions for $125. However, the assignment was signed, but before the reimbursement took place, AMI consulted with their general counsel and then told Lawyer A that the deal to the transfer of the rights to Cohen was off. Yeah, because their lawyer got involved and said, you guys shouldn't do this. That sounds a bit sketch. Just keep it. Especially for 150 G's. Just why are we doing that? 1 month before the election, news broke that the defendant had been caught on the tape saying to the, and this part here, I'm just star kissing women. It's like a magnet. And when you're a star, they let you do anything. Grab by the pussy. You can do anything. The tape got released. Why are we bringing this up? This right here is just character assassination. This is just character assassination. This right here, why are we bringing this political shit up? Grabbing him by the pussy. Sounds like Trump grabbed Alvin Bragg by the pussy. Why? What here? Is this part of the crime? Did they suppress this? No, because it came out. Why are we bringing this up? Is this a relevant fact to discuss? No, we already talked about McDougal being a hoe. Now we're going to talk about Stormy being a hoe. Why do we need this part? What does this do? Remember, if you're trying to state the facts, you're trying to tell a story that's got some, it can be followed along with. What does this do for your story? Nothing. It's just, oh yeah, by the way, grab him by the pussy. Just to get everybody fired up. They're bringing this up because they ain't, if you got to bring this up, Bragg, honey, brother, player to player, pimp to pimp. I mean, well, you're not really a pimp because you're working for the DA's office. You work for the man, but, dude in the law game, you ain't got shit if you're doing this. You know that. Ain't got shit. I mean, let's be honest as fuck. Let's be honest as a pride parade, Holmes. As a couple, let's be honest, like we're in a pride parade driving a Subaru float sponsored by Birkenstocks. Like, let's be honest. You got nothing. Shortly after the tape, the National Enquirer's contacted another woman, Stormy, whom she alleged had another encounter, and the National Enquirer notified Cohen. Then there's Lawyer B. Oh God, Lawyer B is Pecker or Pocker, whatever his name is. They negotiated a deal to secure her silence and prevent disclosure of damaging information. Okay. Under the deal, woman 2 would be made 130 G's. That's not illegal. It's not illegal to pay a woman to shut her up. It's totally fine. Trump is alleged to have told Cohen to delay making the payment as long as possible. He told Cohen if they delayed the payment until after the election, they could avoid paying altogether, because at that point, the story would not matter if it became public. You know what? I really hope Trump did say this, because that is hilarious. He's like, Michael, if we don't pay the whore now, but we wait till afterwards, then we don't have to pay the whore at all. I mean, that's some galaxy brain thinking. Bottom tier, pick up a hooker. Next step up, pick up a hooker while you're married. Next step up, have that issue while you're running for the presidency. Next step up, you're getting the galaxy brain at that point. Pay off the hooker to shut her up. Even bigger brain, the biggest brain of all. String her out, win the election, and don't pay the hooker. I mean, my man, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Yes, that's 4D chess. That's 4D underwater intergalactic chess. Strings, and Stormy's a hoe. Guess what? She a dumb hoe. And you could say that because now she owes Trump like 600 large from her court cases. But she a dumb hoe. And guess what? He tried to string that dumb hoe along. Almost worked. Yes, Rich G saying NDAs are illegal, apparently, to Alvin. Yep. Porcelain saying I had to sign an NDA for an interview. Yes. Yeah, I was under a non-disclosure agreement and a non-compete agreement after I left my job working in the oil fields. And if you leave any corporations, you're going to be, yeah. Elliot, we'll get to your thing in a minute. But yes, NDAs apparently, you're not allowed to tell people shut up. Ultimately, with pressure mounting election approaching, he agreed to pay off the hoes, including Stormy. Stormy got her money. Cohen discussed it with the Trump Organization CFO. Trump didn't want to make the payment himself and asked Cohen and the CFO to find a way to make the payment. Okay, well, there's no conspiracy here because they're not alleging they're committing a crime. They're just saying, I can make the payment. Okay. After discussing various payment options to the CFO, Cohen agreed he'd make the payment. Okay. Before making the payment, Cohen confirmed with the defendant that the defendant would pay him back. Allegedly, according to Cohen, the lying asshole. On or about the 26th, after speaking with the defendant on the phone, he opened a bank in Manhattan in the name of Central Consultants, a new shell company he had created to effectuate the payment. He transferred $131,000 from his personal HELOC on his house, home equity line of credit. In on or about the 27th, Cohen wired the $130,000 from his account to in New York to Lawyer B, to Stormy's lawyer. Good thing it wasn't Michael Avenatti, because Michael Avenatti would have stole the fucking money. When Trump won, AMI released the people. Okay, once again, not a crime. Then it was inaugurated. Trump met with the CEO in Manhattan. Okay, not a problem. Thanked them for handling the stories. That's not an issue. In 2017, defendant invited the CEO to a dinner and thank him. Not a crime. Not a crime at all. Okay, now here's where they're claiming the records happened. Shortly after being elected, the president arranged to reimburse Lawyer A for the payoff he made on the defendant's behalf. In or around January, the organization met with Cohen to discuss how Cohen would be reimbursed for the money he paid to ensure Stormy's silence. The organization asked Cohen to bring back a copy of a bank statement for the consultants showing the $130,000 payment. Cohen agreed to a total payment of $420,000. $420,000. Well, yeah. They agreed to read that figure by adding the $130,000 to a $50,000 payment for another expense, which Cohen had claimed for reimbursement for a total of $180,000. Okay, well, are we claiming this is an expense? Well, what's this expense? This one appears to be legal. They're not harping on it. Then the CFO doubled that amount, so Cohen could characterize the payment as income on his tax return instead of reimbursement, and Cohen would be left with $180,000 after paying approximately 50% income taxes. Okay. Allegedly. Finally, the CFO agreed to add a $60,000 as a supplemental year-end bonus. That's not illegal. You're allowed to do that and say, hey, you did a good job for me. The CFO memorialized his calculations on handwritten notes on the copy of the bank statement that Cohen had provided. Cohen agreed that Cohen would be paid the $420,000 through 12 monthly payments of $35,000 over the course of 2017 each month. Cohen was to send an invoice to the Trump Organization, falsely requesting $35,000 for legal fees rendered in a given month, pursuant to a retainer agreement. At no point did the lawyer ever retainer agreement with the defendant, Trump. Okay, well, we'll see. In early 2017, they met in the Oval Office at the White House to confirm the payment arrangement. Cohen's cheating on his taxes at this point. That's really the only legal thing so far. On or about 2017, Cohen emailed him and said the first invoice pursuant to the retainer agreement remit payment. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Post the legal expenses, put retainer for the months of January in the description. Okay. Cohen submitted other things. Once again, each invoice falsely stated it was being submitted. Okay, but once again, What crime? What crime at this point? What election crime have they broken? Paying off a bunch of hookers, paying off some skeevy, dirty hoes. Not a crime yet, especially in New York, in Manhattan. Paying off some hookers, man. Everybody on Wall Street doing that. Everybody doing that. Everybody. This is still not a crime. These records. What crime? He falsified a bank record. These maybe, but your proof of this is the statements from Michael Cohen, the confirmed liar. The rest of this is just Michael Cohen being sketchy. It's not the Trump organization. As instructed, the account supervisor recorded each payment as falsely describing as legal expense pursuant to the retainer agreement. The Trump organization maintained a digital entry for it called vouchers. Vouchers, like for other expenses, became part of their ledgers. That's normal, what you call like you're paying out your invoices. The supervisor then prepared checks with stubs. First check was paid from the defendant's trust, signed by the TFO and the CFO, and the defendant's sons as trustees. Okay. Well, it sounds like this, nobody was ordered to do this. I mean, we still have Michael Cohen's word, and that's it. This check was signed by the two trustees. Well, how do you know the trustees weren't in on it, Alvin? You're not going after them. Start training your Chat GPT now, brother. You'll need some backup. Yeah. TDS and brain aids are bad. Yes, you don't pay a hoe for sex. You pay him to leave. Yes, very true. Unsung hero for $2. My bad. I did not see this already. I'm going to come. Oh. Yes. Dude weed Lamau. So let's just keep going here. And they talk about this. They keep outlining the remaining 9 checks for the months of April through December were paid by the defendant personally. Okay. Each of these checks was cut from his bank account along with corresponding invoices from Cohen. The check stubs bearing the false statements were stapled to the invoices also bearing false statements. The defendant signed each one of those checks personally, had them sent back to the Trump organization in New York County. There, the check stubs and invoices were scanned and maintained in the data system. Okay. $35,000 payment stopped. Well, yeah, if they're done. Investigation into lawyer aid in the defendant's pressure campaign. In the months that followed, the defendant and others engaged in a private pressure campaign to ensure lawyer aid did not cooperate with law enforcement in the federal investigation. So you're alleging witness tampering, obstruction of justice. Notice none of that was charged. So why are you bringing this up? You're bringing up crimes that were never proven and are outside your jurisdiction. Why, Alvin? Why? On the day of the FBI searches, Cohen called to speak with Trump to let him know what occurred. In a return call, Trump told Cohen to stay strong. In 2018, Trump publicly commented on Twitter, encouraging Michael Cohen not to flip, stating, most people flip, the government lets them out of trouble, even if it means lying or making up stories. Sorry, I don't see Michael Cohen doing that. Well, you're wrong there, Trump, about him not flipping, but you were right about him lying and making stuff up. In mid-April, Cohen was approached by another attorney who offered him to represent a back channel maintaining communication with Trump. I forget who C is, but anyways, lawyer C mailed lawyer A, highlighting that he had a close relationship with the defendant's personal attorney, lawyer D, and saying this cannot be a better situation for the president or you. Later that day, C called A, writing, I spoke with D. Very, very positive. You are loved. Should have been a red flag to Cohen. They're about to ship you out, dude, and sell you out. Lawyer D says communication channel must be maintained. Sleep well tonight. You have friends in high places. Okay. In 2018, C emailed A about a news clip discussed possibility of Cohen snitching. He continued to urge him not to cooperate with law enforcement. The whole objective of this exercise is to drain you emotionally and financially, which is true. That's how they grind you down until you reach a point where you see the feds as your only means of salvation. And he said, you're making a big mistake if you believe these journalists are writing about you. They want you to cave. They want you to fail. And that's true because after Michael Cohen snitched, what happened? He basically disappeared. Yeah, he got a book deal, but he's not been on, a drug around CNN or parade around as a credible witness. He's been, I swear to God, somebody just said muted. I'm going to, oh my God, don't say that to me. I just about panicked. The CVR says when they're dead, they're called hookers. Pike saying, doesn't Trump have accountants handling this? Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I trust this accurate statements here. Trot Golfer saying, when's this getting dismissed? Probably not for a while, man. And I'll tell you why when I get to that. Cargo Pilot Guy says, we are headed for civil war. There can't be any unity after this. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Like I said last week, we're not at the start your Serb paramilitary group stage yet, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to start finding, Serb issue jumpsuits and ski masks and just have them put them away for a rainy day. But we're not to the point of wearing them out in the street yet. Cargo Pilot Guy for another $4.99. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Has everyone forgotten about one of the left's acolytes murdering those Christian kids? Yeah, it's amazing how that just disappeared. And the manifesto, well, that manifesto is being sanitized by the FBI right now. So, I mean, let's be real. We know what's happening there. They're just erasing all the bad stuff out of it. You know that. I know that. Let's go. Brandon says he's just following your lead. Thank you. Oh, Alexei muted. Oh my God. I thought it when I saw this at first, I thought you said I was muted. I was like, no, that would have killed me. Ben Dover says Obama killed an American. He killed 2 Americans. He killed Anwar al-Awlaki and his 16-year-old son. He killed 2 Americans without due process. Dos, duh, zwei. Ein, zwei, yeah. Duh. Did I do duh? Yeah. Yeah. He killed 2. 1 American citizen. 2 American citizens. So yes, he killed multiple members of the al-Awlaki family, not just one. Rich said you should see what lawyer D said to lawyer T and A. Oh. So, let's see. Barton Bella, hello. Yep, Jacob Peets. Yep, Anwar and Abdul. The amateur iconoclast makes up a great point that we know of. J-Rock, I'm going to get to that question about statute of limitations in a second. Yep, Jim says, yep, they were both born in the United States and were U.S. citizens. Yep. And Obama drone striked his dad. Anwar was 100% a U.S. citizen, born and raised. His only crime was being in Yemen and maybe working with some Al-Qaeda groups, but we don't know for sure. Wasn't ever proven in a court of law. So, yes, lawyer A and AMI admit guilt in the connection with payouts to woman 1 and 2. Okay. Ultimately, other participants in the scheme admitted the payouts were unlawful. AMI entered a non-prosecution agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York connection with AMI's payoff to woman 1. At no time during the negotiation or acquisition of its story did AMI intend to publish the story or disseminate information about it publicly. Rather, AMI wanted to make sure these allegations didn't damage the president and thereby influence the election. Okay. That itself isn't unnecessarily unlawful. In 2018, Cohen pled guilty to a felony in connection with his role in the payoff to Woman One, and made his guilty plea that he had done so at the defendant's direction. Yes, after he had been convicted of statements of moral turpitude and dishonesty. This is allegedly what Michael Cohen added. And here, in coordination and with at the direction of a candidate for federal office. Okay, so if you're alleging a crime has occurred, what crime? Well, no crime has occurred because nobody's been charged. Once again, Alvin Bragg is going to have to prove the election crimes when he doesn't have the authority and jurisdiction to do so. Cohen also pled guilty to getting Woman 2 to secure his silence, Stormy, at the connection of the same candidate. Okay, well, according to the liar, this is the great part. The indictment is very sparse, but this is saying, well, it contains certain information that is relevant to the event, but doesn't contain all the facts. Why? Why doesn't it contain all the facts necessary? Why don't you have something here we can all look at this and say, huh, I guess he really is a piece of shit, or say, wow, well, you know why? Because they'll say, wow, I guess he really isn't a bad guy. This right here is bullshit. It's only got enough. We're only telling you enough. We'll tell you what you want you to know. It's not how that works. It's not how that ever should work. And that's it. Uganda's super based, 100%. So, Jonathan saying, yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. David Bright for $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry if you meant to be a sticker, thank you. But if you meant to say something, I guess it didn't come through. So, we're not going to talk about Sam Harris. He's okay with little kids being murdered in a basement. He probably self-reporting there. Peter Watkins for $4.99. We'll address this one right now. Wait, but drone forever sleeping a U.S. citizen without due process would be a crime. That would be murder. Murder. I don't understand. Wouldn't a prosecutor do something? One would think. Will this be a jury trial? Who knows? Well, we explain this to you guys. When you get to an arraignment, this is like crossing the start line in a marathon. Maybe we go all the way to the end of the marathon. Maybe we stop at mile 5. But we literally just stepped onto the start line and activated the clock. It's just starting. You're asking me what it's going to look like by mile 20. I don't know. I don't know yet. But once again, Peter, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. And then, yes, Alvin Bragg did have a press conference, and in it, this is this really pisses me off more than anything else. And I mean, I got some stuff to say here because this is.
Thank you for joining us here today.
This is the DA for Manhattan County or New York County. This is the Manhattan DA.
Earlier this afternoon, Donald Trump was arraigned on a New York Supreme Court indictment returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree.
Okay.
Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime.
What crime? You still haven't told us what crime specifically. What specific crime?
That is exactly what this case is about.
But is it?
34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These
Which
are felony
crimes?
crimes in New York State, no matter who you are. We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct.
I'm pretty sure there have been a lot of murders that have been pretty normalized there. I mean, a lot of violent crime in New York seems to have been normalized. Also, it seems like people have normalized shoving people on the subway tracks routinely. So a lot of stuff has been normalized in your city, bro dog. A lot of stuff. Just a little.
The defendant repeatedly made false statements on New York business records. He also caused others to make false statements. The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. This simply was not true. And it was a false statement that the defendant made month after month in 2017. April, May, June, and so on through the rest of the year. For 9 straight months, the defendant held documents in his hand containing this key lie, that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. And he personally signed checks for payments to Michael Cohen for each of these 9 months.
Okay.
In total, the grand jury found there were 34 documents with this critical false statement. Why did Donald Trump repeatedly make these false statements? The evidence will show that he did so to cover up crimes relating to the 2016 election. Donald Trump.
I assume you're going to tell us which crimes because your indictment doesn't show them.
Executives at the publishing company American Media Incorporated, Mr. Cohen, and others agreed in 2015 to a catch and kill scheme. That is, a scheme to buy and suppress negative information to help Mr. Trump's chance of winning the election. As part of this scheme, Donald Trump and others made 3 payments to people who claimed to have negative information about Mr. Trump.
That part's not illegal. That part's not illegal.
To make these payments, they set up shell companies, and they made yet more false statements, including, for example, in AMI, American Media Incorporated's business records. One of the 3 people that they paid to keep quiet was a woman named Stormy Daniels. Less than 2 weeks before the presidential election, Michael Cohen wired $130,000 to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. That payment was to hide damaging information from the voting public.
That's not illegal. You're allowed to shut people up.
The participant scheme was illegal. The scheme violated New York election law.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. And see, this is a problem. He's going to have to make the claim paying off Stormy Daniels was illegal, and it's not. It's not illegal.
Which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. The $130,000 wire payment exceeded the federal campaign contribution cap, and the false statements in AMI's books violated New York law.
You are the DA for New York County. You are not for the Southern District of New York or the Federal Election Commission. You are the DA for New York County. So why are you worried about federal law here, bro? And then number 2, really, you're going to say shutting someone up violates campaign laws. You really think a court's going to hold that up? I mean, I'd argue you're starting to get into a First Amendment issue here. Running a political campaign and silencing someone who may damage your campaign, but you're operating as a political person, you're really going to try to interfere with a campaign like that? That's I don't like that. I don't think a court's going to like that, buddy. But let's continue. The floor is yours, DA.
That is why Mr. Trump made false statements about his payments to Mr. Cohen. He could not simply say that the payments were a reimbursement for Mr. Cohen's payments to Stormy Daniels. To do so, to make that true statement, would have been to admit a crime. So instead, Mr. Trump.
It would not have been illegal to pay off these fucking hoes. It would not have been illegal to pay off a hoe. It's not illegal to pay a hoe to keep their mouth shut. It's not illegal to tell a hoe like Stormy Daniels, hey, girl, you got lips like a statue. Now, look, I know your lips ain't like a statue. You got lips like a bass most of the time. But right now, baby girl, I need you to pretend your lips are like glued shut. Ain't no wieners getting in your lips right now. I need you to pretend. I know that's hard for you to do because you've been like 30 years on the job, just like working like Pac-Man, just waka, 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 waka. But right now, I need you to go bzit, like welded shut. That's not illegal. That is not illegal in any way, shape, or form in any state in America.
Said that he was paying Mr. Cohen for fictitious legal services in 2017 to cover up actual crime committed the prior year. And in order to get Michael Cohen his money back, they planned one last false statement. In order to complete the scheme, they planned to mischaracterize the repayments to Mr. Cohen as income to the New York State tax authorities. The conduct I just described,
So it sounds like Michael Cohen lied on his taxes. The Trump organization paid out their money. Their books are legit. They gave a bunch of money to Cohen. That sounds like a Cohen problem. And Cohen got in trouble. The Trump organization, they're not being charged with tax evasion. Notice this. They're claiming, they fucked up their taxes. He's not charging them with tax evasion. If he could have, he would have. But he did it because they didn't break the law with taxes. Michael Cohen did. Motherfucking prosecutors, man. Let me tell you. This is how most prosecutors think, sadly.
That which was charged by the grand jury is felony criminal conduct in New York State. True and accurate business records are important everywhere, to be sure. They are all the more important in Manhattan, the financial center of the world. That is why we have a history in the Manhattan DA's office of vigorously enforcing white-collar crime. My office, including the prosecutors.
Why's it got to be white-collar, Alvin, huh? Why's it got to be white-collar? Just kidding.
You saw at arraignment earlier today, has charged hundreds of felony falsifying business records. This charge, it can be said, is the bread and butter of our white-collar work.
From one fat guy to another, you've been eating a lot of bread and butter, I can tell. Just keeping it real. Keep it 100, as the kids say.
And fraud presents itself in all different forms here in Manhattan. We have charged falsifying business records for those who violated federal bank secrecy laws. We have charged falsifying business records for those.
Really, you have? You have? Because one of your former DAs wrote a book saying that actually hasn't been charged and it's not clear if that's a valid use of the law. So I'd be careful about saying that. I don't know if that's true, Alvin. Don't know if that's true.
Those who were seeking to cover up sex crimes. And we have brought this charge for those who committed tax violations. At its core, this case today is one with allegations like so many of our white-collar cases. Allegations that someone lied again and again to protect their interests and evade the laws to which we are all held accountable. As this office has done time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle. I'll now take questions.
So we're going to take a limited number of questions. There are no follow-up questions. One question.
You limit the number of questions because we're gonna get fucking slaughtered in a second. Here we go, guys. This shows you how bad, even in New York City, the press is right now. They are going to. He's gonna get shelled like Bakhmut's getting shelled right now by both the Ukrainians and the Russians. I mean, it's just artillery bukkake in that city, just turning into like the surface of the moon. They're about to turn his podium into a smoking crater right now. Get ready for it.
The reporter, I will call on you. And again, we have limited.
Get ready, kids.
Thank you. First question will be Rick.
Yeah, I think everything that's happening right now, I think some argue that this is a political move. You're not going to be a political person. If we're going to go into
We conducted a thorough and rigorous investigation, as we're known to do, at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I've been doing this for 24 years and am no stranger to rigorous, complex investigations. I bring cases when they're ready. Having now conducted a rigorous, thorough investigation, the case was ready to be brought, and it was brought.
Mr. Bragg, the indictment says that there were 34 false business records. And they would then conceal another crime, but the indictment does not specifically say what those crimes were. We are assuming perhaps that they might be election related. I'm wondering if you can specify what laws were also broken.
Right. So let me say as an initial matter that the indictment doesn't specify that because the law does not so require. In my remarks, I mentioned.
Okay. Here. All right. Real quick. Just saw it here. Steve Gosney, what up, man? How you doing, Steve? If you want on, I'm about to be done, but I gotta go. I gotta be up in the morning. But thank you for being here, Steve. Yes, this is a disaster because this level of dog crap, this bottom level steaming pile of dog crap, we've now set the threshold this low. Everything's open season now. But just listen to that. I don't have to tell you what law you broke to charge you. Remember what I said? An indictment should give you notice. Now, if that's really the case in New York State, my God, that is a communist hellhole. I showed you what in Ohio what an indictment does. You get notice who broke the law, what date they did it, where they did it, and who they did it to, and then what law specifically did they break. And how did they break it? This? Oh, the law says I don't have to tell you. You know what? Maybe you're right, but here's the thing. You know what people all over America do when they hear that? That don't sound right. That sounds crooked as hell. I mean, Bragg, if your goal was to make sure Trump never, doesn't have a chance of re-election, he's going to keep running that. I don't have to tell you what I charged you with. You think people all over America, even on the left, are going to be like, what? Dude, no. You have to tell people. I mean, even in Vox.com, their legal writers are saying, what the hell is this? What is this? And listen to that. Listen to him again. I don't got to tell you.
There were 34 false business records. And they would then conceal another crime, but the indictment does not specifically say what those crimes were. We are assuming perhaps that they might be election related. I'm wondering if you can specify what laws were also broken.
All right. So let me say as an initial matter that the indictment doesn't specify that because the law does not so require. In my remarks, I mentioned a couple of laws, which I will highlight again now. The first.
Here's the thing, though. Which laws for which counts? You can't just say, oh, he broke a bunch of laws and you can fix them in wherever they go. No, you have to say which law he broke on which count. You don't get to go up in trial and say, oh, he's a bad man. He broke the law. Fuck him. That's okay. Prosecutors would really love to do that, and they try to do that. Because like I said before, they're government workers, so they're kind of lazy. They like to cut corners. Also, they think, fuck bad people because, if you're a defendant, you're a bad guy. But you don't get to do that. You don't. You don't get to. No. It's just like Destiny. Like, wait. Or for like Queen in Bohemian Rhapsody. No. Mamma mia. You don't get to do that. Oh, I told you what laws he's broken. No, specifically, count 1. What did that break? Count 2. What did that break? Count 3. What did that break? Oh, he broke a bunch of them. Then list them out. Give me numbers, citations. What election law did he break? What law did he hear? Boom, 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 boom. You have to do that.
Is New York State election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. I further indicated a number of unlawful means, including more additional false statements, including statements that were planned to be made to tax authorities. I also noted the federal
Michael Cohen's tax authorities.
Election law cap on contribution limits.
But why weren't there those crimes charged? Why wasn't he charged with those crimes?
Well, I'm not going to go into our deliberative process on.
Boom! I mean, that's like a J-Dam hitting an Afghan wedding. Just pow! Or if you're like a Dragon Ball Z, like whatever the hell, when they're doing like that, and they punch and hit each other, and it's like boom. I mean, like I said, Dragon Ball Z is kind of gay. So, I mean, it's like a J-Dam hitting a Pakistani wedding. Just carnage everywhere. Just look at that. Look at that look on his face. Why didn't you charge other stuff? Oh, well.
Those crimes charged. Why wasn't he charged with those crimes?
Well,
look at that look. Whoa. Yeah. Well, why'd you charge those crimes, Mr. Lawman? We don't take kindly to no white-collar crime. We keep it 100 here, folks. Oh, just listen to. I'm sorry, guys. We messed that up here. Just listen to this.
A number of unlawful means, including more additional false statements, including statements that were planned to be made to tax authorities. I also noted the federal election law cap.
Which ones?
Contribution
Cite the laws.
Limits.
Cite the laws, honey. Come on, cite them. Which ones? Tell me. I want to be able to look them bitches up. Like, let me know. I'm going to fire up Lexus. Which one? So I can know. Did he do it? Did he not? Come on now. Which ones?
Weren't there those crimes charged? Why wasn't he charged with those crimes?
Well, I'm not.
Oh, well. Oh, you got me. I'm the prosecutor, man. Our bread and butter. We just eating it up all day long. All this white collar crime. But hey, this white collar crime. No, we ain't gonna touch that shit. We're gonna say it happened, but no, we ain't gonna do it. I feel like I'm Chris Rock when I did that. Kind of like, but no, not that white collar crime. No. We're not gonna touch that shit. Nope. We're just gonna focus on this amorphous blob of like questionable shit. No. We're going to eat that up. Not the red meat. No. We don't want the red meat. We're going to eat this like impossible stuff. Who knows what it's made out of? Is it made out of people, little kids? Or is it made out of like ground up sea turtles? Or is it really just phytoestrogen-laden tofu and soy? Well, I don't know. We're just nom. That's all we're eating up here. That's all we eat at the DA's office. Also, sorry. Boomer. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, guys. Oh, you can't see. Oh. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry there. Yeah. Also, Squid, I'll get to the. We're gonna get things in a second.
Not going to go into our deliberative process on what was brought. The charges that were brought were the ones that were brought. The evidence in the law is the basis for those decisions.
But you talk about all these crimes, so the evidence. If you're saying these crimes occurred, you should have some sort of evidentiary proof these crimes did occur. But we didn't charge them. But you're saying you have evidence they occurred. Why aren't you charging them? I mean, like I said, you saying this, you buttering that bread, baby. Come on. I know you how to do it, fat boy. Come on, I know how to. Trust me, I've buttered a lot of bread in my life. I'll go butter some bread in a minute after I'm done here, probably. Just cram it in my pie hole. Just butter that bread, Alvin. Come on, butter it up. Present that shit, man. Come on. Come on.
You had expressed a year ago that you had some reservations about the case's readiness. Can you talk to us about what were some of the questions in your mind that needed to be answered in order to bring a case of this magnitude?
I needed George Soros to put some money in my bank account. I needed like $1 million to, that check to clear. Once that was sloshing around in my checking account, well, like a good hooker, I perform when I get paid.
I'm not going to go chapter and verse into any thinking. What I will say is, I believe the time period you're talking about, I'd been in office for a couple of months. The investigation, in my view, was not concluded into the conduct in particular that is the basis for the charges today. Since that time, we've had more evidence made available to the office and opportunity to meet with additional witnesses. So as I said earlier, I've been doing this for 24 years. I don't bring cases prior to a thorough and rigorous investigation. Now,
I mean, you kept that guy, Jose Alba, in Rikers Island for like a whole week for stabbing up a dude trying to rob him. I mean, just saying.
Now, having done so, the case has been brought.
Mr. Bragg, Garrett Hake with NBC News. Your predecessor took a hard look at this case and decided not to charge it. Federal prosecutors took a hard look at this case and decided not to charge it. Do you believe you have new evidence that led you to decide to charge this, or why now?
Well, as I just mentioned, we have had available to the office additional evidence that was not in the office's possession prior to my time here. And as to your part of your question about the federal, we have a distinct and strong, I would say profound, independent interest in New York State. This is the business capital of the world.
Notice he doesn't answer the question. Well, we have a distinct independent interest saying, I think I should be able to charge federal crimes. That's where this is going.
Regularly do cases involving false business statements. The bedrock, in fact, the basis for business integrity and a well-functioning business marketplace is true and accurate record keeping. That's the charge that's brought here, falsifying New York State business records.
Well, you're falsifying New York records. You just made that we're so independent. But you're worried about what he did federally, bro. Oh, about that.
The participants also took steps that mischaracterized for tax purposes the true nature of payments and burdens of the state. Do you allege former President Trump was one of the participants who mischaracterized the payments for tax purposes?
I'm not going to go beyond the plain language statement of facts, which I think speaks for itself.
I'm not going to, except it doesn't. It doesn't speak for itself. And the indictment doesn't speak for itself. And your indictment can't be, cross-referenced into the statement of facts. Your indictment doesn't speak for anything. Your indictment is limp dick, man. Come on now. Look at his... Look at him. He is not happy. This is not going well. Even the left wing is like, dude, this don't make no sense.
On the strength of the evidence that Trump personally intended to violate state election law, including actions that are charged with indictment.
So the charge is falsifying business records. The charge requires, as I specified, criminal conduct that was concealed. One of the concealed crimes we allege is New York State election law. I So we went through in our statement of facts, which I think many of you have in front.
Which part of New York State election law specifically? How? Once again, paying off a hoe. Because remember, guys, as the song goes, these hoes ain't loyal, so you got to pay them off. These hoes ain't loyal.
Of you, goes through things including, text messages, emails, contemporaneous phone records, multiple witnesses. All of that will be, as you saw in the fall, borne out in a public courtroom in downtown Manhattan.
Last question is Jonah.
Yeah, correct. The charges that related to the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, the release from your office, also mentions another woman, Karen McDougal, as well as a doorman. Can you comment on how those players are related to the charges you've brought or to the case overall?
I'm glad you put your finger on that, because it's not just about one payment. It is 34 business records, 34 false statements in business records that were concealing criminal conduct. And the earlier question about New York State election law, when I talked about conspiracy to promote a candidacy by unlawful means, those unlawful means we allege include the conduct set forth in the statement of facts, which is additional false statements separate and apart from the charged ones in AMI documents, planned false statements to taxing authorities. It is not just that one $130,000 wire payment. Thanks so much.
Mr. Bragg, any comment about any incitement of violence by?
Okay, that's all horseshit. Everything that guy just said, bullshit. Everything. Oh, we got legal advices here. Hey, what? Did I miss something while I was sleeping? No, nothing happened. Go back to sleep, Jeff. So, Winter Soldier says Cleveland Jr. brought 34 charges. Yes. Oh. Yeah, Rich G saying, is this a conspiracy to promote a candidacy, a crime? That's where I think, they're going to, well, maybe, we don't know, because they haven't told us specifically, chapter and verse, what crime has been committed. So, yeah, there's no conspiracy, there's no solicitation. A-Dubs is saying, Bragg is hanging this all in the word of a hoe who's got Arby's, Bing Montana in her jock. And also Michael Cohen. That's it. It's Michael Cohen. It's Stormy Daniels. Those are your star witnesses. I mean, I bet Michael Avenatti shows up in this too at some point, really. So you're just going to have the absolute biggest pieces of shit as your witnesses. Oh, God. Yeah. But I need to get through some of these super chats and then through some of this other stuff here. I don't want to leave some of you guys hanging. I just wanted to bring this up. Steve says, motion for change of venue, motion for disqualification of judge, motion for disqualification of prosecutor, and motion for a more particular statement. Yeah. Oh, I agree. Motion for change of venue. Yep. I mean, I know that they're saying Trump wants to go to Staten Island or upstate, and they've done this before when police shootings in New York City. I think, Trump can afford to get all the things like Richard Barris and polling to show all that's necessary. And, God forbid he has to preserve this for appeal. Do that. Motion for disqualification of the judge. Yeah, this judge, heavily tied to the Democrat Party. Yeah, that should be a disqualification issue. Has been involved in Trump stuff before. I think that further taints it. Motion for disqualification of the prosecutor. I'm not sure if they can, but yeah, I would love to, because Bragg even ran on saying, I'm going after him. Although, I don't know if New York allows that. That's going to be a little tougher one, because a prosecutor is allowed to say, I'm going to be tough on crime and go after a bad man, I think. And then, yeah, a motion for a more particular statement. I go straight for a motion to dismiss the indictment. Certainly at that point, then you really are outside the statute of limitations again, and we're done. But yeah, if I was Trump's attorneys and we get through all this and it all gets denied, I would ask for a bill of particulars. And a bill of particulars is where you go to the prosecutor and say, spell out exactly, lay out line by line if you're telling me a story. tell me how you think I committed this crime. What's your theory of the case? Because they have to tell you. Because you have the right to prepare a defense. So they're going to have to tell the whole story. And I can't wait to see how they articulate that. The Squid for $5. Thank you so much for the super chat saying, this DA is so corrupt and inept at his job that Darrell Brooks would sound sane making an argument against him. Pretty close. Peter Watkins for $4.99 saying, I need to lose a little weight, but this DA needs to lose his license and more weight than me. Jesus. Mm-hmm. The Squid for $10. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It says, I want to know how this dude thinks that paying a hoe to, shut up through an attorney is a crime. Yeah. Yep. And Spud Gun here brings up the real truth. He downgraded 52% of felonies to misdemeanors. Yeah. We don't mess around with the law here, except you do. Stephanie Davis, hello, saying subbed. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you for subbing. I appreciate it. Steve, once again, saying this is a disaster. It is. This is what's called WROL, without the rule of law. That's the beginning of it. Really kicking its head up and, jumping out on the stage and saying, here I am, everybody. We're without the rule of law now. Elliot Johnson is saying the statute of limitations likely ran anyhow. Attempting to equitably toll a criminal felony statute claiming unavailability when you have a corporate agent available service is insane. Well, that's the thing, though. The corporation hasn't been indicted, so having the corporate agent here doesn't really do you much. But since all this has happened, Trump has been in and out of New York. So he's been in New York a bunch of times, and they've known where he's at now. For example, if he committed murder, they wouldn't just sit there and say, oh, we're not going to charge him until he comes back. They'd file murder and they go after him, put out a warrant. So, yeah, I think they've got statute of limitation problems, big ones. So, J-Rock saying, how are they going to get around the statute of limitations problem? Because the judge is going to say, sorry, I don't care. We're still going forward. Because they're going to do that. I don't see this going away. It's not going to go away right away. It's going to drag on, and that's the purpose. This is more. If Trump gets it convicted, that's icing on the cake. To have him indicted is the goal. To have the process be the punishment. Just like when he was impeached. What did they say? Forever impeached, because he is forever impeached twice. And now they could say forever indicted, because he has been indicted. If you get indicted and you beat the rap, you're still indicted. He's still the only president to have been indicted. So that's what that's what they care about, ultimately. So. Shayla became a member. Thank you so much, Shayla. I appreciate the support. I really do. Thank you so much. Legal Vices says the crime was smashing Stormy. Dude, you were a billionaire. You literally could have smashed anyone that was inclined to do so. Yeah, but Stormy back when this happened she was a looker. Besides, he's Trump. He does whatever he wants, man. Steve Gosney saying bingo. Makes me happy to see that I said something and you weren't like, Sean, no. You're like, right on. Mark Balmer is saying, so are the big questions here a matter of law rather than a matter of fact? Actually, both. There are a lot of questions of law, like statute of limitations. Are the laws applicable? Can you charge someone for crimes that were never indicted or charged or proven beyond a reasonable doubt in another court and use that as evidence that you're enhancing a crime against them? Because typically you can't. So, for example, I'll go back to this one here. And I'll use this as an example, Mark. Window. This indictment here. Okay, the reason why I bring this up is in Ohio, For felony domestic violence, you have to have a prior domestic violence conviction. One is a misdemeanor, or it could be a felony, depending on what happens, how bad it gets. But the second one can be automatically charged as a felony. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. Okay, well, you have to have a prior conviction. I can't, as a prosecutor, go back in time and say, well, I have proof that he punched and beat her and kicked her and hit her, because that was never proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Those are allegations, and I'm not here to prove that first incident. You can't have a trial within your trial. And that's, I think, a big problem as well. He's going to try to have a trial within a trial proving Trump committed these crimes and that they are crimes. Well, does he really have the authority to do it or the jurisdiction to do it, number one? And then number two, is that even proper? Well, no, he hasn't been convicted of those. He hasn't had a chance to prepare. That's not fair. You should be charging him with those election crimes, convicting him of those, and then go after him for making the false statements. If you really wanted to do this, you would. But he can't, because the statute of limitations is blown by everything. This is a grasp. It doesn't mean this grasp won't last for a while, though. So I hope that answers your question, Mark. That's a very good question. There are questions of law and questions of fact. And we don't know them. This is bad. This is bad. It should never be this way. Alpha Fox saying, so turnabout is fair play. No. I think this is where Ethan Ralph is 100% correct. Everything's on the table now. Everything's fair game. Vakusum saying, a quick reminder about capture and kill. AMI was doing this and blackmailing celebrities without coordinating it with them. Yeah. I mean, this happens all the time. Every campaign does this. Every campaign has hatchet men that go out and take care of business. Track Golfer saying, why would any competent prosecutor take this case? Well, you answered your own, this is the neat thing when you posed what is you posed something that I like to call, Trot, a self-answering question. What kind of competent prosecutor would do this? Well, a competent prosecutor would not do this. So there you go. You answered your own question. But I know you're a smart guy anyway. COVID fixes the statute of limitation issue for them. Some people are saying that COVID extended the statute of limitations for 200 days. Maybe. It all depends. A lot of things got extended during COVID, but the statute of limitation for this, I don't know. Yeah, I could see that being an issue, but we'll have to find out what New York actually passed, because a lot of those things were passed as like big, massive dumps of things into the law. We'll find out. Legal Advice saying, welcome to Korea and a lot of Central American and South American countries where every past president has been indicted and convicted. Pandora's box has been opened the way the Clintons' impeachment opened the impeachment box. Yeah, this is going to be the new norm now. So, Kyle Bogue for $5 saying, did I miss a base Sean rant? I don't know. You're going to have to ask everybody else because I don't keep track. Steve saying, you're on the money tonight. When would I ever say otherwise? Well, I don't know. Some nights I think I don't get it right. So more of a joke, Steve. Sorry. It's hard to, it's kind of hard to joke and have banter when the person's not here, but yeah, no, it's more of a joke than anything. But remember, guys, you know who the real victim is? Like, I need to stop. America's not the real victim tonight. The real victim all across America. I mean, we really need to think about this. I mean, it's like 9/11 for this group of people. T-shirt vendors. I mean, those people They now don't have that mugshot of Donald Trump to slap on a t-shirt and sell for $35. It's gone. To grift. It's gone. So there tonight, when you lay your heads down on your pillows, uh-oh, yeah, okay, yes. All right, we're back. We're back now. God, that was bad. Big t-shirt lobby was coming after me. But as I was saying, the t-shirt industry suffers tonight. So before you lay your head down on your pillow, just think about that. Think about that person out there who sits there and is, just smoking Pall Malls like a chimney, selling t-shirts for $35 a pop in the sweltering heat or in the pouring rain at a political rally. Because they don't have this shirt now. They've lost this income. I mean, this is like blight hitting your wheat or brucellosis hitting your cattle. Trump not having a mugshot you can use. You're going to have to AI that now, and it's not going to be the same thing, and everybody's going to know it. So just keep that in mind. I guess that's my white pill for everybody. As long as you're in the t-shirt industry, at least for tonight, your America is still what it is. It's still standing. It's still safe. So, God bless America. God bless her. All right. So I gotta get to. I saw a couple of super chats here, and like I said, when I reloaded, it missed some of them. So if I missed one, let me know, guys. Carrie Matchett says, "Look in order." Oh yes, look at Executive Order 12333, and it's through the Constitution in the toilet. Yes, it did. And we might cover that one night coming up. But thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. Cargo pilot guy for $9.99. Thank you as well. After the last 10 days, the push to ban firearms has never been more threatening. These people will become as monstrous as enemy history's despots. I wonder what the founding fathers would say right now. I would say the founding fathers would be busy putting in work right now. They wouldn't be saying a whole lot. They wouldn't be doing a whole lot of talking. Between us girls. Oh. Malcolm Wilhelm saying any chance he'll include those crimes as included charges later on. I don't think so. I mean, if he had the stones to do it, he would have done it already. This is the best he can. This is the best Alvin Bragg can do at this point, and he knows it. It's the best he can do. Toy La Carissa saying it was for 288 days, and that may be the case. I know in Ohio, things in the middle of the pandemic, stuff was getting passed left and right, and things were getting. The legislator was doing things to the criminal code and the courts were doing things. So speedy trial was kind of wiped out as a statutory thing. The courts did a bunch of stuff. Maybe it did. We'll have to find out. PD says, who is Ethan Ralph? Ask Nick tonight. He'll tell you. Is this subject matter jurisdiction? Well, actually, there is some subject matter jurisdiction. Does he have the right to try Trump and enhance off a federal crime that was never proven? So that's a subject matter issue. To be actually, you kind of asked the real question there. Oh. Okay, my civics class was right. Okay. Automata saying, what if the statute of limitations was extended through the governor's executive order, not through the legislator? That could be an issue. It depends on how it was done. That actually is a very good point. I know in Ohio it was extended by the legislator, so that's kind of how you get around that. Justin Smith says, did you miss Sean doing a rant? Well, the question is, did you miss me speaking? If yes, then yes. Thank you. Oh. Let's see here. No muggies. Yeah. Yeah, we can't fake them. You guys are, oh God. Yeah, they got me. Yep. They got me. I know. Yes. F's in the chat. The mugshot is gone like Sean. Barton Bell is saying, is Ohio getting the bad storms? We're not. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, Alvin Bragg got me. Or they drone striked me. Oh, she said I'm not muted. Oh, you guys gave me the whole time. Well, there you go. Michael Burke says, Alvin Bragg said on my internet line. Yeah, Trump is selling T-shirts with a fake mugshot on it. Yeah, I know. That's, but it's still not the same as the good thing. Like him having the real mugshot. So, let's see here. John Gray saying the fact that Trump lived in D.C. and Florida excluded him from the statute of limitations. But during that time, he was also residing in New York City. Like he came back to New York City routinely. It's not as though his whereabouts were unknown. And he wasn't willfully fleeing the jurisdiction. He just moved. So I think that there's probably some case law to argue he moved, they knew where he was, and in fact, he came back routinely, is probably going to defeat that argument. So bend over saying short ropes and tall trees. Well, yes, you can hang tire swings. If you have a long rope, your tire swing doesn't work. Oh, Nick isn't streaming tonight? Okay. Furby Slayer for $5. Thank you. Says, thanks for going over it, Sean. You need to do a Gosney stream someday. We've already done one of those. I mean, we can do another one maybe at some point. But we have done one of those already. In fact, we did it. How long ago? We did it. Let's bring up. We actually did it right here. We did this bad boy right here. Right, yeah. Right, yeah. Live with Steve Gosney 3 weeks ago. We had Steve up here talking, and we had a good time. Steve was great, and I enjoyed it. I know a lot of you guys enjoyed it too. And I will say it was really a treat to have Steve on. And if you guys remember, his book, Prepare, is out. In fact, I think it came out this week, if I recall correctly. I think it did. But yes, it's Prepare, a handbook for individual liberty. Actually, hold on. Prepare, a handbook for individual liberty, is out. And I think it's actually being delivered. I think some people have said they've got it already. So it should be a pretty good read. But it is out there, and yeah, I'll see what the late spring and the summer hold for all of us. Um, let's see here. Oh, by the way, if you guys didn't know, Ethan Ralph and Pansy were having another kid. Ugh. Let's see here. Automata for $2 saying, and here I thought Sean was all in with big T-shirt. Yeah. Oh. Jim is saying the COVID extension of the statute of limitations should only affect the crimes committed during the pandemic, not crimes allegedly committed 4 years prior. It all depends on how things were worded. If it was a blanket extension of the statute of limitations because offices and things were kind of degraded, it all depends on how that was worded, and I don't know how it was worded. We're gonna have to see. Somebody's gonna do that research. New York attorneys are gonna have to kind of belt it out and let us know what happened. But I would agree with you, hopefully, but we don't know for sure yet. But I think that's a very good point, and we're gonna have to see. Patty Leather says, "Save your souls and commit to converting to Catholicism this Holy Week." Commies. Yes, this is Holy Week. So, yes, if you're a good Catholic boy or girl, this is a good week. Um, and if you're not Catholic, well, jump on the winning team. It's a good one. Mm, let's see here. Um, Ralph is fertile, apparently. Where somebody else is, I don't know. But Pantsu is pregnant, yeah. Oh, okay. Let Ralph in. Barton Bella says, "Can Obama be charged with depriving U.S. citizen of their civil rights for killing a kid?" Theoretically, they could. I mean, he would try to argue immunity for it. But yeah, he could be charged with murder. I mean, there wouldn't necessarily be something stopping that. If we're charging president with crimes, let's charge him with some crimes. Pyramid 7 saying, "Will we see a bill of particulars?" Maybe. Like I said, I don't know where this is going to go, guys. Do I think his attorneys are just going to say motion dismiss and poof, it goes away? I'm not counting on that. I'll be thrilled if it does, but this is going to drag on. This is meant to drag on. This is meant to exist for a while. So it's uh Steve. Oh, I will send that to you. I'll shoot you my address in a second. Thank you. Um Obama would be pardoned. Maybe not. You wait until the next election. He might not be. Never know. So um so that's it, guys. Yeah, I get it. And Ralph's got a little wiener and all that. Okay, yeah. Um so that is it for tonight. Let me check in the rest of this here. James Deanan. Oh, sorry, I wanted to get to this one. Feels like my country died today, and I'm so worried for my kids' future. Well, all you can do is fight and prepare. Keep fighting and prepare. Not just by Steve's book, but plug into your communities, plug into your friends' networks, and build solid communities, and get ready to weather the storm. That's all you can do. Then, if it turns out it's just that tidal wave is just like a little splash, great. And if it happens to be the worst thing bearing down on you, then you have a chance. So you guys, I am not answering. I am not putting some of this up there. Come on now, guys. Mystery Sniper saying the Romans really nailed Holy Week, don't you think? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Ah. Reckerman says invest in copper and bullets. Well, Bullets usually have copper on them. So yes, invest in lead and copper and brass, precious metals. Precious metals. Ag biochemist saying, can an Arkansas AG charge the Clintons for the corrupt foundation? I don't think it's out of Arkansas. I think it's out of New York, but a lot of that's going to be passed due anyway. Also, the killings, yeah, murder's always up. Murder is always up. Murder's always on the table. It never goes away. And conspiracy. Demon's Wrath says, I'm sorry, Sean, but the urge to purge begins to surge. Oh. Yes, Wrestler Town's right. Find some non-Monsanto seeds. Yep. Should sell some heirloom seeds. And chickens are awesome if you can have them, yes. But also remember, ducks lay more eggs, and ducks might be able to defend themselves a little bit more. Something to think about. So that is it for me, guys. It is 12:15. I've got to be up in the morning. What time? I got stuff tomorrow. My calendar, Mr. Calendoro. It is 9 a.m. So I've got a quick night. So that is it for me, guys. And oh God, I gotta stop reading this. Yep, Ohio is on East Coast time. So, guys, that is it for me. We will be live Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern time. We do it every week, cover everything that's been going on. We'll probably retouch on the Trump indictment. There's probably going to be more information coming out. And whatever else has been going on in the world, we'll certainly cover that. So if you're new, I hope to see you there. It's a fun time after that. We're also on Rumble, BitChute, we're on Odyssey. If you guys want to join us over on Locals, there's always something going on there. A lot of fun stuff to talk about. All the glowy and Fed posty things we can't talk about here as well. And yeah, that's really it. Also, if you feel like you want to be the bravest of the brave, you can join us in Discord. The links are in the link tree. And the links also should be down below in the description. So until next time, guys, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. And I'm not sure Trump's guilty because I don't know what he did. So maybe you didn't do something and you may or may not be guilty, possibly, maybe. I don't know. Good night, everybody.